Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Know What to Watch, the podcast where two guys watch random movies, all thanks to the holy algorithm. And with me today is the Two Face to my, I don't know, One Face, Kyle Mulford. Hi, and I'm Noah Saturn. How you doing, Kyle?
Kyle's not here anymore. Sugar tits. This is Hank.
Leave my breasts out of this.
I'm, I'm doing okay. Uh, what what did we watch this week? What did we watch this week?
I don't know. We watched a movie.
We did.
Me, Myself, and Irene, starring Jim Carrey and Renee Zellweger, directed by the Farrelly brothers. And that's when I went, oh no.
Don't forget, also starring Chris Cooper, Richard Jenkins, and Robert Forster.
hmm
I mean, good cast there.
hmm
Had you seen this one before?
No, but I have a history of not particularly caring for the Farrelly brothers in their style of comedy.
Okay, so I did watch this. This came out in, oh gosh, what year did this come out?
2000.
2000. Okay, so I would have been in the middle of my college years that this came out. So, prime age for enjoying this kind of stupid comedy.
Not that or like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, I did own this DVD when it came out. I thought this was really funny the first time I watched it. Um Here's the thing is the Farrellys, their first three movies that they directed, the first one was Dumb and Dumber. Right out the gate, I know you say you don't like the Farrellys, but Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite comedies, like ever. I love Dumb and Dumber. It's um and here's the thing though, I haven't seen that one in a lot of years, and it came out when I was in high school. So I don't know if I revisit it, would I still love it? Because I've watched it so many times, I can actually replay most of the movie in my head, even to this day,
hmm
and it's still like I still remember loving those scenes. But I still quote Dumb and Dumber. But then their second movie was Kingpin, which was quite funny actually too. Their third movie was There's Something About Mary, which I only saw once. I thought that one was kind of funny. So like I think I kind of slowly went away from them as they went, but I did like their first two movies, and then There's Something About Mary I kind of liked. This one, Me, Myself, and Irene, I thought it was kind of funny. I was a Jim Carrey fan, in high school and college, but rewatching it now, there's some scenes that still made me chuckle. But yeah, overall, I'm going, this is definitely a high schooler, stupid college kid, kind of dumb humor movie.
Yeah, and this was kind of before, I guess, the more Judd Apatow comedies came out, and they tend to be more the dominant form of R-rated comedies. Because say what you want about Judd Apatow movies, but they have a certain amount of sincerity to them, and then like the Farrelly brother movies do not.
Yeah, and that being said, though, even though I'm kind of outgrowing the Farrelly brothers, Farrelly, I don't know. I'd still almost take their early comedies over any of the Judd Apatow comedies, just because Judd Apatow just drives me crazy with we got to get stoned in every scene. Like that every movie has to have like the let's get stoned, let's get stoned. It's always funny because we got stoned. Look how high I am. I haven't been this high before.
Mhm.
Like, and they always point it out in the movies. It's just like, oh my god, stop, really.
Yeah, and it seems like Judd Apatow movies always tend to be a little too long for me. Like you'd probably cut this, cut that.
Yeah, they're always like 2 hours long, and that's always a half hour too much.
hmm Especially for a comedy.
This one I don't. This one didn't seem like it was too terribly long.
It felt long to me when I was watching it. It was an hour and 52 minutes.
No, so it was a little on the long side. I guess there was enough scenes in there that made me chuckle that even though I was like, yeah, I may be over the Farrellys, there's enough scenes in here that kind of make me laugh. Like some of the really stupid, why is this even in here scenes? The cow scene. There's a
hmm
scene where okay, so let's kind of go over the story a little bit is Jim Carrey plays a cop in Rhode Island, the biggest little state in the union, or whatever they say, the narrator.
Mhm.
Uh, and he's married to this girl, and they're all lovey dovey and blah blah blah, and they get married, and on their honeymoon they come back, and the limo driver is played by by Tony Cox.
Who does his thing? He's like, "Hi, I'm Tony Cox."
um,
Collects his paycheck and then leaves.
and I, I make midget and black jokes because I'm Tony Cox, and that's what I'm here for in this movie in particular.
Hmm.
But he's the limo driver, and then he starts accusing Jim Carrey of being racist, even though he wasn't being. And then the wife comes out there, and then they start talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just a limo driver on the side. I'm actually a charter member of Mensa or whatever."
Yeah,
and
he's like super smart guy.
yeah, and she's like, "What? I'm in Mensa too." And so so this is the joke that the ongoing joke that I love in the movie is 9 months later she has triplets and they're three black boys. And then so she ends up leaving Jim Carrey for Tony Cox and going off with him, and leaves Jim Carrey to raise his sons. and and he plays the whole I'm just going to turn a blind eye to the fact that these really aren't my kids.
Hmm.
And like they make have you, while they're at the barbecue, have you noticed your kids are a little more tan than you are? So bad. But
Oh, it's on my mother's side is Italian or something.
yeah. But anyway, like when she leaves, he finally snaps into like he just goes kind of, he loses all everything, and he just lets everyone walk all over him because he's just lost all hope or whatever. And
Hmm.
until people around the town just walk over him so much that his angry side comes out in the form of his alternate personality, Hank,
Hmm.
who's just a complete asshole douche.
Hmm.
Who tries to drown a kid, drives his car through a barber shop, you know. And and then there's a side story going on with Renee Zellweger, who is running away from her boyfriend because he's
Involved in some like criminal stuff.
in criminal stuff, and like the head criminal Chris Cooper has ties to like FBI and cops, so like he's got a cop in his pocket.
Hmm.
That was Richard Jenkins. And they're chasing her down. Well, Jim Carrey ends up having to drive her back to New York, and then they find out that everyone's after them, and so they're just basically on the road running
Yeah, it
away from the
becomes a
bad guys.
road movie and a chase movie, and then occasionally you see like other scenes with Jim Carrey's these characters' kids, Charlie's kids, because they actually are like genius level guys. So they're
Yeah, and that's the funny part is they do that whole like contrast of like, they grow up watching like Richard Pryor and Chris Rock, and like that's their time lapse video is them sitting on the couch watching Richard Pryor as a kid. So they talk like, when he leaves, he's like, "Okay, kids, what's the rules?" And they're all like, "No bitches after 11." So like they have that kind of like chit chat back and forth with their dad, but then they're like these really genius kids. One of them is arguing, "I can't believe that they made Pluto a planet with like blah blah blah." It's like, and there's one point where they get into a helicopter and they're like, "Can you fly this thing?" "I don't know. There's got to be instruction manual in here somewhere." It's like, "Well,
it's
it's
in
in German."
German.
"Well, you know German. Read it to me."
I can't read German. Fine, I'll read it to you.
but those three is Anthony Anderson and two other guys, and I think they're hilarious in this film.
They do play off each other very well. I like them. So that's one of the things I did like. I didn't like the film really as a whole, it just wasn't for me. But
Yeah.
parts of it I did like that was funny. The cow scene I didn't really care for. That was weird.
I, I think I liked it because it made absolutely no sense as to why it was even in the film. They're driving him, Jim Carrey and Zellweger are driving down the road,
On
and
his
there's
motorcycle because he's like a highway patrolman.
yeah, and there's a cow laying in the middle of the road, And he's like, "Oh man, well we better get this off the road. Someone could get hurt." And then it starts like moving. He's like, "Oh, we got to put it out of its misery." So he shoots it in the head, and like it keeps mooing, and like he shoots in the head like 10 times, and then finally, it won't die. So he goes down and like starts choking the thing, and then when they're done, it cuts to the next scene, and it was just like, what is that scene? Well, like, why was it here? What, like, it had nothing to do
Later,
with.
like, yeah, he tried to shoot. He's crazy. He tried to shoot the prize cow, and then the cow's fine.
It's just like, I don't even know what it. Oh, but and then the other thing is the albino waiter.
Yeah.
I I did read that he. I don't think this guy did anything else. Like it said that like he answered the call for an audition from like an acting class or something like that, and then later in life he regretted doing the part because of like the way, like, because he is an albino, like that actually is him, like
Yeah.
it's not makeup. So he didn't like the way it was portrayed in there, but like, and that's the thing is like Fairleys have some pretty offensive humor in here too.
Yeah.
And so kind of me feels part of me kind of feels bad at laughing at some of this, but I did like that character though, because not the albino jokes, but the fact that they thought he was weird, so like they made fun of him, but then Renee Zellweger's character was like, you made him feel really bad, and the waiter, he comes over to the table and he's like, "I'm sorry. Did something I say offend you earlier?" He's like, "Well, actually, like I found everything you said to be offensive." So
Yeah, he did have a couple good jokes. He was kind of funny in a few places. So
yeah, because the punchline with him was the whole when he's late, like they have to share a hotel room, and the waiter and Jim Carrey share a bed, and the waiter, and he's like asking about his family. He's going, "Oh, they're all dead. Oh, I stabbed them in their sleep.
mm-hmm.
My sister was still awake, so I
It's like
kind
that.
of regret that."
Then of course he moves over to Renee Zellweger's.
But
Renee
I
later.
liked that scene where he's telling about him killing his family because it pays off in the end.
Yeah, that is a good joke.
So there are some solid jokes in here, but like, yeah, I agree. Overall, it's just kind of
Kind of
silly.
dragged. Like it was fun occasionally when Jim Carrey would do kind of his sort of body turning around routine, or like when he got in a fight with his Charlie, and Hank got in a fight, two parts of his personality.
Yeah, and that's what he was really, like he was known for all the facial expressions he could do. Like that was really
Yeah,
what got
that's
him
why
his
he hired
start.
Jim Carrey for a movie like this.
Yeah, and that was another scene I actually really did dig was his fight with himself. He really put everything into that, and like it looked really great. Like his acting there with dragging himself around and throwing himself through a window, and
Throwing himself out of a car.
yeah, and then, the car's like slowly going down the road, so he jumps in the back, looks in the mirror, he's going, "How'd you get back in here?"
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another scene. Like yeah, there are plenty of jokes and scenes that actually did make me chuckle, but like you said, an hour and 50 some minutes was too long, and they could have cut some of this stuff out.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's and that's most of the movie is just kind of stupid jokes. So
Mhm.
there's not much else you can say. Chris Cooper, Richard Jenkins, Robert Forster, those actors, they didn't have a lot to do other than they were just the bad guys chasing them.
Like, yeah, hi, I'm Chris Cooper. I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
I I do the bad guy thing. That's fine. He could do this. He's kind of that. He could do that in his sleep.
He could. What's funny is Robert Forster was actually like the good guy in this. Like he always seems like he could be better bad guys. Like he just looks angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, he learns to cope, and his personalities merge back together again. And that's about it. Like it's
And he
a lot.
marries Renee Zellweger, and at one point we find out that Hank is into butt stuff. So he's like, "Why is this?" Like, "Oh, why am I so sore?" Like, pulls out like this, sex toy. He's like, "You did this? Oh no, that was for you." Oh no, gross.
Yeah, if you like Jim Carrey's early stuff and you like his whole rubber face routine, like this movie is a showcase for that kind of work that he did when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, he's making all sorts of faces in this. He has to take medication for his split personality, and he's like, "Oh, it makes my mouth really dry." So, like, he does all these weird faces with like his mouth drying out and everything. It's just kind of goofy fun, but like, yeah, like I said, then his physical comedy really came into play with that fight with himself. I would actually recommend just go YouTube that scene
Mm-hmm.
where Jim Carrey fights with himself from Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, but if you want to watch a rubber-faced Jim Carrey movie, I'd probably suggest The Mask because that fits the material so much better. And I guess I like The Mask. I feel like the plot, I had a better plot, and I like the effects are still fun for The Mask.
Yeah, this one, the plot was, like I said, like the bad guys were just generic because it's like they didn't really care about the plot. They made something up so that they could have Jim Carrey do his routine.
Mm-hmm.
And they even said that they came up with the title of the movie before they ever came up with any sort of story. So so they took the whole Me, Myself, and I. What if we made that like a name? Me, Myself, and Irene. Oh, we could write a story on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's it's like the old 80s canon way of doing films. Uh, where,
Yep.
where they'd make a poster, go sell the movie based on the poster, and then once they got the movie, they'd come up with a story and film it. So, yeah, not much else to say about this. The three kids, Anthony Anderson and the other two, had some of the funnier scenes. Jim Carrey had a couple of good Jim Carrey scenes.
In general, not my favorite Jim Carrey movie, and not my style of comedy in general. So this one was not for me. I would definitely give it a pass.
Yeah, I don't think would I watch it again. Yeah, because it didn't bother me, but like, I mean, if it was on, but yeah, I'm not going to tell people to go out and watch it.
Would
Yeah.
I watch this again? No. If it was on, I'd do something else. I'd change the channel.
Yeah, I wouldn't seek this movie out again. I know I owned it when I was younger, but that was my college self that liked stupid comedies like this. However, going into our recommendations for double feature or instead of, I am going to, even though I haven't watched it in a long time and it is another Farrelly movie, I'm going to recommend, if you want to watch a Jim Carrey Farrelly movie, watch Dumb and Dumber. I love Dumb and Dumber, and I will quote that whole movie right now. Harry, you're alive, and you're a terrible shot.
You want to see You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, speaking of Dumb and Dumber, Seabass makes a cameo at the end of Me, Myself, and Irene. Uh, Kick his ass, Seabass. I don't know if you caught that at the end of the movie.
No, no, I did not because I've never seen Dumb and Dumber. So
Oh, so you don't know Seabass? Okay. Uh, um. Oh, and another another little weird cameo that I wanted to point out from Me, Myself, and Irene was the motel that they stayed at. The young girl who was like the manager, and then her husband, who was the old weird dude.
hmm
Do you know who that was?
no.
The girl was Anna Kournikova, the tennis player,
Oh,
in
bizarre.
her only acting role as a motel manager on screen with like 3 lines. I was like, what is that?
It's like
I
that one
don't know.
time Kim Kardashian was in the movie for like 10 minutes.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I'd like to know the story behind why is Anna Kournikova in this movie? Like, she's never acted before. What, like, is she friends with the Farrellys or something? What was this?
Okay.
But
And
yeah,
now
that's
on to our next segment, which I always really enjoy. It's called a double feature. What would you double feature this movie with? Or in this case, what would you watch instead of this movie?
oh, like I said, I'm going Dumb and Dumber. I will recommend that.
hmm
I
Yeah, I
think
guess with the Jim Carrey comedy, I'd probably recommend The Mask
yeah.
because it uses his talents as sort of a rubber-faced comedian, as he was known at the time. Plus, it's still pretty goofy and like it's still pretty funny with like all the weird song numbers, like the Cuban Pete number.
Yes, yeah. So you're not recommending Son of the Mask,
No, no, not at all.
the Jamie Kennedy classic?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd go for that one too. That's been a while since I've seen that one too. I haven't watched a lot of. Sorry, that was loud. Um, I haven't watched a lot of older Jim Carrey movies recently.
Hmm.
Other than I did watch Ace Ventura recently. We showed that to my daughters, and I'm like, that end scene, probably not the
Yeah,
best. And yeah,
that
that whole premise does not hold up in today's day and age. But anyway, let's move on to finding our next film. We'll go
spin, spin,
all
spin, spin.
genres. Spin it. Okay. We've got born into a tight knit wrestling family, Paige and her brother Zach are ecstatic when they get the once in a lifetime opportunity to try out for the WWE. But when only Paige earns a spot in the competitive training program, she must leave her loved ones behind and face this new cutthroat world alone. Paige's journey pushes her to dig deep and ultimately prove to the world that what makes her different is the very thing that can make her a star.
Isn't this like Fighting with My Family?
It is. And you know
I
what?
think I saw this movie. It looked fun.
I have seen this movie and I've been wanting to rewatch it, so now's my chance.
All
Because
right. And what was it streaming on at the moment?
this is streaming on Prime Video, Hulu, and Epix for you people out there. So it's streaming on Prime and Hulu for us.
All right.
So fighting with my family. And yeah, this one I can actually say, well, I thought it was a pretty good movie, so we'll see.
All right.
But
Until
anyway,
then, let me tell you something, brother. You can smell what the rock is cooking.
you can smell what The Rock is producing and putting himself in a small cameo in.
Hmm.
Um, until then, though, you can find us online on Twitter at AwesomeKM.
And I'm at Noah_Saturn. That is spelled Satern.
And we are on Instagram at We Don't Know What to Watch. You can email us at We Don't Know What to Watch at gmail.com. And yeah, drop us a note, comment below. Do you like the Fairley Brothers? Do you think it's stupid humor and not worth it? Uh, let us know your thoughts on this movie and any others.
Until then, keep watching movies and watch out for Crazy Hank.
Don't piss me off.